Welcome to Intermittent Fasting for the Win. I'm Mike Saunders, author of the book Intermittent Fasting for the Win.
And I'm Jolene Ellis Wygand, longtime faster, preschool teacher, health advocate, and fitness coach at Curbs Clubs for Women.
Join with us as we endeavor to help you become more knowledgeable about intermittent fasting.
Whether it be an interview with a fellow faster or a podcast featuring a particular subject, we will be sure to give you the tips and information to make you a winner when it comes to IF.
The information provided in this presentation is for general knowledge and informational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. It is beneficial to consult with a qualified healthcare professional for any health concerns or before making any decisions related to your health or treatment. This content is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Hey, we're here with Wendy this morning, and we're going to discuss a very, very important topic, and that's about disease, sickness, accidents, all manner of things health related, and how they're going to affect fasting and how fasting can help a lot of those things. So, Wendy, it's good to have you on the podcast again.
It's so good to be with you. Thank you.
Well, listen, tell us just briefly what you're struggling with right now. There's some people who may not know, and this podcast might be listened to 5 years down the road, after you've gotten completely through this. So go ahead and tell us what you're struggling with.
Sure. In November of last year, I had a physical and my blood work came back all wonky, which led to a battering of tests, and I was diagnosed with stage 4 cholangiocarcinoma, which is bile duct cancer, and it's in my liver. And I had was diagnosed with a large tumor um, in my liver, and so I'm undergoing treatment for that. I've been undergoing treatment for that since December of last year.
That is, I would hate to have to pronounce that name.
Right? It's a tongue twister.
And my second thought on the whole thing is cancer in the liver is one of the worst places you could have cancer. I mean,
Yeah.
I consider that to be worse than having lung cancer or something like that,
Yes, yeah. Interestingly enough, even though it is in my liver, the cancer itself is bile duct. So it's related more to like gallbladder cancer um, than liver cancer. But because that biliary tree is inside the liver, it obviously lives. It can, there's three different kinds actually. Um, Intrahepatic, which is what I have, which is inside the liver, and then extrahepatic and perihilar, which is outside of the liver, and then even further away, like distal, because your biliary um, tree actually runs outside of your liver into your intestines, because your bile is what helps your body digest. And so yeah, it's crazy. It affects everything digestion wise. Yeah.
Wow. So, did you ever think you've been fasting for a good while now?
Hmm.
You
Yes,
underwent bariatric surgery to lose weight, but then you
hmm
you took the process even further with intermittent fasting, and you lost a lot more weight, and you're such an
I
inspiration to a
did.
lot of
Yeah.
people. Yeah. Uh, Did you ever think there might be a time that you would need to lay aside fasting for a while to get through this?
Um, well, number one, like cancer was not on my radar at all. Um, here I'd been living this healthy lifestyle, for over 5 years. I started intermittent fasting in 2020, um, and have been maintaining my 140 pound weight loss for 4 years. And I just, yeah, you realize that you believe, fasting is so good for our health, um, and is so preventative for disease. So yeah, so cancer was not on my radar at all. And it's a reminder that yes, we can do everything possible to prevent disease and take care of our health, but there are things that are just out of our control, and so we learn how to deal with them when they arise. Um, my doctor kind of scared me in the beginning because they were really really concerned about me losing weight. Um, And since I'm already, pretty thin, they wanted me to like up my protein intake and to not lose any more weight. And so I had lengthened my eating windows in the beginning, and I felt terrible, really, really terrible. And finally, when I did a 3-day fast around a treatment and got rid of all this inflammation that I had been carrying and felt more like myself. I went back to my regular time restricted eating protocol, um, and have felt my best, I think, doing that. So
Doing your normal routine.
doing my normal routine. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, and you hinted at it, but did you discuss your fasting with the oncologist?
I did actually. I told them that I had been living an intermittent fasting lifestyle for a while now, and I wanted to stick with it. Plus, just reading about the benefits of autophagy and all of the stuff. You just want to give your body the best possible chance to fight this. Um, my oncologist, he he wasn't necessarily for or against. He just said, you need to do what you feel is right, and so he was supportive of that. Thankfully, at least he didn't like discourage me from it. Um, but
Good,
this,
good.
yeah, but this particular cancer is so aggressive and rare, um, that they really don't have great treatment. There's no proven treatment for it. And there's not like a particular diet or anything that works for it as well. So the good thing is that that just meant I could continue doing what I was doing.
That's good. You mentioned, and one of my questions on my list was,
Hmm.
and you kind of answered it. And the question is, were there any other dietary approaches that the care team recommended? And you said that they up your protein.
Yeah, so I mean, some of the standard common sense things that we know for our health apply. uh you know Cutting back on sugar, uh avoiding processed foods, and sticking to whole foods, more plant-based. All of that stuff is just good for our health, number one. The the problem is since weight loss is so common, they just want you to eat whatever you can palate, and so it's tricky. It's, when you're on treatment, you really do not feel great. And so sometimes the only thing that sounds good is eggs and toast. I ate a lot of eggs and toast.
I remember last year about this time let me see. It was July 10th of last year that I had my left knee replaced. And recovery from knee replacement is pretty horrific.
Yeah, yeah.
And I made the decision then that I was going to not be as stringent as I had been about my fasting schedule, and I was going to open up my window and eat just a little bit more food because I felt like during the recovery process, I needed to continue fasting, but I needed more nutrients, for
Hmm.
the healing. So
Hmm.
that's what I did. And I think that's kind of what you've done too.
Well, and I like right now I'm on a break from chemotherapy. And so I'm feeling so much better physically. I have a lot more energy, less fatigue. I had a really intense radiation procedure in April that I'm seeing good results from as far as like killing off the tumor. Um, but the ultimate goal is to have liver resection surgery. And so right now I'm focusing on, you know, building up protein because I'm gonna need that protein to rebuild tissue, and heal from surgery. And so your blood work just tanks when you are in chemotherapy. Like it just is so hard on your body. Plus, cancer is so hard on your body. Um, so, just trying to stay healthy and keep my weight up right now so that I'm ready to recover from surgery, hopefully, when that happens sometime in the fall.
Okay. Let me encourage you just a little bit. I have a friend I've known for years, and he's had two liver transplants.
Wow.
That's kind of an anomaly in itself. Usually, one liver transplant is all you get. And if something happens to that one, um, you're pretty much on your own. They don't usually do two, but he was such an extraordinary case that they decided to go ahead with the second one. And
Hmm.
the reasons that the first one failed were not because of him. It was just sometimes things like that happen
Right.
because he was an example of clean living.
Mm,
They told him, if you want this liver to work, you need to not drink the sodas. And, they gave him a whole list of, and he needed to eat clean. And he doesn't fast, but he cleaned up his diet. And now he's on that second liver, and he's almost 20 something years into that second liver and
wow.
going strong and has led a normal life. But uh, I know your eating habits because you post all your food pics.
I do.
You rat yourself out, and
I
and
do. I do. And I haven't been super strict. I have not.
but
Um,
but but even what you call not being super strict for Wendy is still a whole considerable amount healthier than
yeah. Yeah.
the normal person eats. And I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
You know,
true.
your food choices and making sure that food is window worthy. Well,
Yes.
what does your medical team say right now? Are you a good patient or a bad patient?
Um, well, I think they would say I think they would say I'm a good patient. Um, I feel really fortunate. We live we live really close to one of the nation's top cancer centers, called City of Hope, and it's literally 10 minutes away from our house.
That's a blessing.
And it's a huge blessing, and it the timing of everything worked out so perfectly for me to be able to start my treatment there. Like, we didn't even have to transfer there. Um, and I just it's a huge miracle for me for me to have these incredible specialists, all in one place, all working together, putting their heads together around little old me, and my my oncologist, my interventional radiologist, and the surgeon were all top recommended specialists, from the Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation's website. And they only there's only a few, since this cancer is so rare, that have experience dealing with it. And so I just feel incredibly grateful, um, to have these three doctors working with me. Um, Now, as far as me being a good patient, I'm kind of a squeaky wheel, um, because I do my own research and have made a point to understand, the function of my biology and how this cancer is affecting me, and what treatments are available. And so I go in and I ask tons of questions. And um, so I would say that makes me a good patient, but it probably depends on who you ask.
Well, let me interject there because you're answering one of my questions.
Oh,
Matter of
sorry.
fact, my next question, you're answering it as we speak. And I love how that works when you're doing interviews like this, how just during the course of conversation, questions get answered. But my question was, have you come across any information like articles or posts that inspired you that maybe uh, fasting was the right way to continue with the fasting, and also articles in educating yourself about just what's going on inside of your body, other than just taking the doctor's word for it?
Yeah. Well, there was a study that was done at USC, um, and I think it was even just a fasting mimicking diet, but how that could lessen the effects of chemotherapy, lessen the side effects of chemotherapy, and also boost the effects of chemotherapy on cancer, which is why I did that 3-day fast
That's
around.
and you posted about that study on Facebook, did you not?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did.
I remember reading that. Yeah.
Hmm. Um, and so, yeah, there was also an alternative, not alternative, it's a fairly new treatment that we were looking into, called histotripsy, which uses sound waves through water to, like, pinpoint tumor and basically just dissolve it. um and there's still not a ton of research on that treatment, and it can only target like small areas at a time. Um, and so we had a consultation with a guy with a doctor that does that treatment, and then went and discussed it with my oncologist and the surgeon about whether or not it, because when I was first diagnosed, I was diagnosed as inoperable, because my tumor is causing stenosis of my portal vein, which is the vein that brings blood back from your intestines to your liver to be filtered. And so that's kind of an important one. They can't just, cut that out, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And so um my thinking was, if I could have that treatment done kind of targeted around that area, would it be helpful, um and make me operable later? But um when we spoke with the surgeon, though, they had seen a couple of he had seen a couple of people who had had that procedure done, and it ended up causing um, inflammation that made it really hard for him to be able to see clear boundaries of where the cancer stopped and where inflammation began. And so he said for him, it wasn't going to make the job any easier. So that was why he steered us towards having this radiation treatment instead. Um, and the thing is that, like, yes, I trust my ability to um understand my body, and what feels right to me, trusting my gut. I put a lot of prayer and research into things so that I'm making decisions well informed and with great faith. Um, but at the same time, I do trust these specialists that have dedicated their lives to helping people overcome cancer as well. You know, um,
Well,
whether or not.
it's it's not just that you trust those specialists, because I know you. It's
Mhm.
not just that you trust specialists. You also trust that God has placed those people in your
Yes.
life. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, and the fact that I have a really well-rounded team. Once we met um the radiologist, and I'm not just talking about their specialties. I'm talking about like their personalities, their abilities to communicate, their trust and respect for each other. This is one of the things that's so wonderful about being at a cancer center, where all these guys uh, communicate with each other daily. They all have access to um, each other within just minutes. I ask a question, and next thing I know, he's like, let me talk to your oncologist about that. And he sends a message, and I'll get with him. And then next thing I know, I've got an appointment in my portal, to see the next person. And so, like, there's follow through that is just fantastic. And so when we had those three guys together on my care team, it felt like, okay, this is now well-rounded. I feel like they are all bringing their own expertise, um, and have my best interests at heart, and they're going to challenge each other, and put their heads together. And so at that point, I said, I'm going to still ask my questions, but I am going to lean on your expertise as far as helping me figure out the best course of action as far as treatment. Um, and it may if my team was different, maybe that wouldn't have been the case. Maybe I would have wanted to go off and do something more alternative, but it really felt like time was of the essence, since since this cancer is so aggressive, um, that I needed to jump on it and just trust that they were going to do the right thing for me.
Okay. This leads me to not a question, but an important point, and I think that you'll 100% agree with me on this. I believe firmly that you need to educate yourself about your body, about the operation. I can't tell you how many videos I've watched of knee replacement surgery.
Oh, absolutely.
And I believe in education because, I mean, the recovery, everything, I was ahead of schedule on my last one. And I plan
Mm,
on being that way with this one, the one that's upcoming next month. But it's not just for this. I believe that too many people shortchange themselves on their education about fasting.
oh gosh, yes.
I mean, I see people all the time. They come on the groups and they just have a ton of questions, and it seems like they ask the same question over and over and over again. And that's because they're just not educating themselves. They're wanting somebody else to tell them. Well, and this leads me back around full circle to the beginning of this last question
Hmm.
about you trusting your doctors and having a good team and this, that, and the other. There's nothing wrong with trusting a medical professional,
Right.
but there's everything wrong with not being aware of what's going on and just
Yes.
blindly moving in.
Yes. 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 Yes.
That's the same way that it is with fasting.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, and we like to say too, there's some things, like you are a study of one.
Yes.
What works for somebody else may not work for you. And and this is true for fasting. This has been true as I've watched um cancer patients talk about their treatments. Some people respond really well to certain treatments, others don't. Um, it's just that you have to know yourself, and you have to be paying attention to what is happening and how you feel. Um, th this is why I wanted to kick myself that I had um not realize that some of the symptoms that I was feeling before my diagnosis were cancer related, because they had been chalked up to other things. Like, you're going through menopause. The fatigue you're feeling is menopause. Um, your stomach's feeling a little acidic. Maybe you have an ulcer. Like, so, things like that, where it was like, had I had I paid attention to those things and gotten into the doctor sooner, would that have helped me out? I don't know. But you know what I mean? Like, but fasting is has been key for me into becoming more in tune with my body and feeling how things affect me, and understanding the science behind why fasting works and what happens when we're fasting has been key in keeping me motivated and um just loving living this lifestyle, is because I know I'm doing something good for myself. And
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 so,
and all of that is due to the way that you have educated yourself about the whole process.
yeah, yes, yes,
I mean,
yeah,
you can have things going on in your body like, well, why do I feel like this? Well, if you don't research it and if you don't ask questions, you're going to be stuck at phase one, and
hmm.
that's a bad place to be.
Well, and it's different when there are people that just want to be told what to do. Just give me the list of what I need to do, and I'll follow it. Um, but then if they don't see immediate results, then they're like, oh, it doesn't work. This doesn't work for me, you know? And there's the difference is, why am I doing these things in this order? Why am I following these things? Why am I drinking the black coffee instead of adding cream? What happens when I add cream to my coffee that your body is then now expecting food to come and releases insulin, even if your glucose doesn't spike, you know? And those constant little releases of insulin throughout the day cause us to become resistant to it. And, eating in a way and fasting in a way where we keep insulin low is just, people don't understand how good that is for so many things in the way that
Yes.
our bodies work. Metabolic disorders, all of those things. And that, like, yeah, we're just doing. See, I know I'm all over the place, but you know what I'm saying? That,
Oh, you're
like,
right. You're right on target. Well, let's,
education is key.
yes, wrapping up, uh,
Yes.
wrapping up. Let's just say, and I'm talking from a surgery aspect. You're talking from a chemotherapy and radiation and future possible surgery aspect, that
Hmm.
our lifestyle of fasting is beneficial.
Absolutely. 100%.
So if you're going through something, everyone who's listening to this, just don't throw fasting out the window. You may have
Yeah.
you may have to tweak it a little bit. You may have
Hmm.
to tweak your window, or maybe tweak a food choice to complement that, but don't throw it out the window.
So no, it's your best tool.
Yes. I want to
Yeah.
do something real quickly before we hit the stop button on this.
Yeah.
Father, in Jesus' name, my sister has gone through a lot and she's still got a lot to go through. But I know that you're there with her. And I know that you've guided the hands of the people all along and that you put the right people in place for her. And I ask you to help her to get all the way through this and be a shining light for everybody else who has to walk this path. And I give you thanks and I praise you in
Mm.
Jesus' mighty name. And little sis, I love you.
I love you too. Thank you.
And you go ahead and have a wonderful rest of the Saturday. Get that second cup of coffee in you.
I need it because I'm down to the dregs.
Down to the dregs. Hey, and it's Happy Mug Day too. That's a pretty mug you got there.
It says, love you, mean it.
There you go. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And thank you so much for joining me here on the podcast.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
you.
You too. Bye.
If you need more information on fasting and want to join with a community of people who embrace this lifestyle, let us recommend that you go to Facebook and search for Intermittent Fasting for the Win, and also search for Clean Fasting Jolene. Either of these groups will help you along the way. Also, the book Intermittent Fasting for the Win by Michael Saunders is available on Amazon.com. We also recommend that you read Jen Stevens' books, Delay, Don't Deny, and Fast, Feast, Repeat. Thanks, and make sure to subscribe to this channel so that you will know when the latest episodes become available. We'll see you next time.